Good day and welcome to this Focus On with myself, Dewald Rademacher. Today we're talking about the digital payment landscape, something not new to the African continent. However, it has seen an influx of fintechs and digital payments industry players increasing over the past few years, mainly due to recent events such as COVID. But it does open the doorway for more industry players to expand their footprint in the rest of Africa. One such company is Network International, who I'm joined by Group CEO Nadan Mir. Nadan, thank you so much for joining me.
Good afternoon, Devol. Thank you for having me on your program.
Now, about this time last year, we caught up with Network International when you launched your Network One, and part of that was an investment of around 560 million rand. Now, a year doesn't really seem so long ago, yet so much has happened in that time. Can you just give us some feedback as to what have you seen in return of that investment?
Yeah, thank you. I think you're referring to a conversation with Dr. Reda Helal, who was on your show about a year ago. And so, yes, we are extremely delighted to make that investment in technology, bringing our technology that has been deployed in other markets to the South African market. And the primary driver for that was in the belief in the growth prospects of the South African market, and of course, wanting to do the right thing, wanting to deploy technology on soil in the South African market that complies with the Central Bank of South Africa regulations, but also, in effect, meets the needs of our customers. So we have two sets of customers. We do business with South African banks and fintechs, and we also do business with South African retailers. And I think data residency and processing that data on soil gives all our ecosystem constituents, our regulators and our customers, the comfort that they were looking for in making sure that we're doing the right thing by South Africa. And so it was absolutely the right investment for us.
Now, as I said, a lot has happened in the past year. Now, South Africa obviously went through the whole election and we've got a new GNU government. Do you see a sense of comfort in that unity in the government impacting the economy in a positive way, but more specifically in the digital payment system landscape? Do you see that positive impact, or do you think there will be a positive impact?
So I think the summary response is yes. I have the privilege and the honor of speaking to many market constituents. So I speak to the central bank, as I referenced earlier, to the payment industry organization, and of course to customers and to consumers when we're here, right? We have several outreaches. And I think and we've been in this country, we've been serving the country for the past 2 decades. And I'd say a general observation is that the country has made great strides politically, economically, over the last 2 decades, which has given companies like ours that are investing capital from overseas the confidence to continue to make the investments that are required to serve the country well. And also, I mean, you have so many credits to the country, right? You have cultural credits, political credits, how business is done here, and the underlying growth of the economy. So all of that gave us the encouragement to make that investment. And I have to say that looking back a year, I would say that we don't regret it for a minute, because our customers have embraced that investment, and our business has picked up quite substantively since we've made that investment. And coincidentally, we're sitting here at the Leonardo Hotel today. We'll be announcing some new customer signings this evening, which I could not contemplate we would be doing if we hadn't made the investments that we're making.
Any of those signatures you can tell me who they are, or are they still?
We can refer to them in due course once the signatures take place. Maybe premature prior to that.
I thought I was going to catch you out on that one. In the time, you did 2 decades. So but aside from the 2 decades, this year, have you seen any other challenges, potential challenges that you could overcome that can spur digital payments? Because a big portion of not just South Africa, but in Africa are still a cash society. Now, the idea here is obviously go cashless. Do you see anything there, any barriers there that you can overcome on this?
So let me start by saying, when we look at the region, because we're from the Middle East and Africa, and we're for the Middle East and Africa. Network has had multiple births. We were actually born right here in Africa, in South Africa. We've had a birth in Egypt. We've had a birth in Jordan and in the UAE, because we're a conglomeration of different companies that now operate under a single brand and a single umbrella called Network. So this is not new to us. I would say that the South African market, from our perspective, is at the sophisticated cutting edge of digital payment markets in the region. And that's because a lot of the market participants, the credit goes to the market participants, right? To the ecosystem, to the regulator, to consumers for adopting digital technology. So there are several factors at play. And the proportion of digital payments in South Africa is at the higher end of total payments made by consumers in the region. So that's to the credit of South Africa. What companies like ours are trying to do with every passing year is just accelerate that shift. And to accelerate the shift, you have to continue to make infrastructure investments. And there's never going to be a single solution that replaces cash, as an example, right? Which is what we're trying to do here. Digital payments is good for the economy because it increases the velocity of cash, and that gives GDP a boost. In fact, there is a direct correlation between the shift from cash to digital payments and GDP growth. There are several studies done in that regard, and there is a direct correlation. It reduces cost, it increases transparency, etc., etc. And so it's been a good journey here in South Africa. You've had several rails that you've invested in as a country. The card rails are one example, and those were created many, many years ago. But instant payments recently, I believe instant payments came into play only 2 years ago. And instant payments are changing the landscape too. And over a period of time, the stores of value may change. It may be cash, or it may be bank accounts, it may be credit cards, it could be cryptocurrencies, it could be assets being tokenized, it could be a whole range of stores of value. Ultimately, it's about making sure that these stores of value can be exchanged between the market participants, consumers to consumers, consumers to business, business to government, consumers to government, etc., etc. And so I think what we are all trying to do as market participants is financial inclusion, financial empowerment, and helping businesses grow. And if we stay focused on those three fundamentals, the outcomes are going to be the right outcomes for all the market participants.
Now you need to spend a little to save a little, and the spend a little I'm talking about is the infrastructure you mentioned about. Are you looking to invest more in infrastructure, digital infrastructure?
So let me give you a sense of the scale of investment that we make as a group, and then we can distill that to the South African market. But as a group, we make roughly northwards of $100 million of digital infrastructure investments every year from the income we earn. And so you're absolutely right, you're spot on. You've got to keep that infrastructure, you've got to make it more robust, you've got to make it more secure. After all, ultimately this is about security, it's about speed, and it's about making sure that the data that is underlying that digital infrastructure is used in the right way. So we make investments in each one of those pillars. Like I said, it's roughly $100 million, give or take, every year. And proportionately to the business we do in South Africa, we continue to invest. So we announced an initial investment of 560 million Rand, but that was no way the end of the investment journey. That was the start of, I'm going to say, the new phase of investments that we are making in the South African business. We did make an acquisition, about 3 years ago, of PayFast. That could be seen as an investment. That was a, give or take, a $300 million acquisition that we made 3 years ago. So we'll keep investing because you have such a great economy here. You have such wonderful people. You have great businesses, great financial institutions. There is no reason we shouldn't continue investing in South Africa.
Another part of investment is that into human capital.
Yes.
You obviously, to bring us back to where we are, you are signing up more BBBE partners as part of that. Do you just explain that to me? And also, how do you incorporate upskilling as part of that human capital investment?
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. Essentially, companies like ours are about talent and technology. I'm specifically calling out talent first before technology because we spend a lot of time talking about technology investments. ultimately it's all about talent, because the talent puts that technology to good use for the better purpose of the economy. And so I think we are very, very happy. We're delighted that we've been certified BBBEE1. That's a recent certification. We started the journey 3 years ago as BBBEE rated 8, or was it 4 years ago? And then we graduated to 4 roughly a year ago, and now we're at 1. So it's been a journey. And it's been the right objective to pursue. Because again, payments is a local business. 98% roughly globally of all transactions originate and terminate in the country, because payments follow lifestyle needs, right? So most of the lifestyle that humans have is in their own country where they reside. And then occasionally they'll travel outside on business or on holidays, but this is where their life is, and therefore this is where their payments are. And therefore, for any payment company to be successful, they must be locally led, and they must be locally served. And that's what we have done. We have ensured that our South African business is led by South Africans and is served by South Africans. I can proudly say we do not have a single expat based in South Africa serving our South African customers. So it's all about hiring the right talent. It's all about then investing in that talent, helping them grow, helping them experiment, push the boundaries, make sure that we're doing the right things from a grounds up, from an economic perspective. Ultimately, if we can help this economy grow, and if we can help this business grow, we will achieve whatever financial objectives we've set for ourselves. It doesn't happen the other way around. And talent is the key to making that happen.
And this falls part of your strategy, as you have reach in Nigeria and you have reach in Ghana. Do you see the potential in other African parts where you can reach the unreachable?
Sure. We're actually taking the learnings that we have here in South Africa and taking them to other African markets. So, our business in Egypt is substantive. Our business in South Africa is substantive. And therefore, we have a lot of learnings both in Egypt and in South Africa. And we are using those learnings to then develop our business in other parts of Africa. Proud to say that we now have technology operating in Cairo, in Lagos, in Accra, and in, of course, right here in Joburg, locally. We are locally led in all these markets. We have large local teams, and so our developers are local, our salespeople, our customer service people, you name it, HR, every single function, finance, no function is managed from outside the market that we are serving. And so what that does is it keeps us grounded to the market, and it keeps our ears, we know what's happening in terms of the development needs of the market, and we can see where the puck is going, and we can skate to where the puck is going versus where the puck is. Typically what happens if you're a global company and you're trying to be relevant to a market is you try and use a single market lens or what you know in another market and try and see if that gains resonance in another market. But payments is a local business. If you want to be relevant in the digital payments business, you have to be local. You have to commit. You have to commit to talent, and you have to commit to people and to technology on the ground.
And then I think this is still a conversation we can unpack for a long period of time, but I think we have unfortunately run out of this particular time for this focus on. Thank you so much for joining me in this conversation. That was Ndinden Meer, Group CEO of Network International. And until next time, goodbye.